If you guys happen to catch our live streams, we do them often, sometimes a couple times a week. We'll do a drive up live stream occasionally, or we'll just do a couple. You got something on your face here. Oh, hold on. Alrighty, welcome to the Weekend Homestead. What a surprise, it's raining on the Weekend Homestead. 40 days of rain, 40 days of rain.
One day, it started raining, and it didn't quit for 4 months.
It's just getting obnoxious. It came up after a week. I had 5 inches in the rain gauge. But I said I'd do an update on the apple orchard, so we're going to take a quick tour here. I'll walk you guys through what we got going on in the rain. Hopefully everything works out on this, because I'm getting wet. But all right, first thing here, we have a 8-foot fence.
That's not funny. That was great.
A huge gate. We'll go through that gate in a minute, and I'll show you this. This is the orchard shed. But in here we've got all of our miscellaneous tools. Over the winter time, our big lawnmower is stored in here, but all our shovels, rakes, everything that we use to kind of maintain the property. We have 2 styles of buckets. The black buckets are the utility buckets, and the white ones we store seed or stuff in. Got our different sprays and things for mice, and our bee stuff, cutting stuff, chainsaws, fuel, all that kind of stuff. But just a little space to kind of have some miscellaneous storage in. A lot of tools are missing from the shed right now just because I've got them out in the gator because we're doing some work out on the property. But normally all the tools are in one spot on the property, so when you need something you just go to the tool shed and everything's in there. Go through the next thing here. Sorry about the wind, folks, but this is what you get when it rains every day out here. This gate, pretty heavy. Made a little stop right down here on the bottom. Put a little stop down at the bottom there for the thing to hold the weight. So the gate is really heavy, but when it's on this side here, it sits on that block to make sure that it doesn't sag. And then when it's closed, it sits on that block. But nice way to bring tools and equipment back in and out of the orchard here. This space right here, I have a large tote that's going to go here and some gutters that'll go on here. We'll have a rain catchment system so that then I have water out here so I can water the trees. This is our first batch of raspberries. This will harvest sometime in July is when these guys will all pop out. The yellow boxes you see on the post right there are our mason bees. They're doing well this year. Unfortunately, we had a little incident here. These are our blueberries. For whatever reason, they didn't take, so we're gonna have to see about getting those swapped out. I think it has to do with water. Surprisingly enough, I think we got actually too much water, because when I came in before, there was standing water inside the boxes because it really downpoured, and I think it just drowned them. So these are our fall raspberries. Fall raspberries are doing really well. You can see these are both planted at the same time. So those are the spring ones. These are the fall ones, and the fall ones are going gangbusters. The spring ones, they're getting going. But these raspberries will come out sometime in late August or September. Like I said, those are our 3 boxes for our bees. And then we'll go through the different rows of trees. Each row on here is a different type of tree, so I'll go through each of the different ones. So these are Harrelsons. They're actually starting to come in. Look, little apples there. So we have 4 Harrelsons that are growing along the backside here. Those are semi-dwarf trees. Those will get a lot taller and a lot bigger. These 3 here are Zestar. These 3 right here are Honeycrisp. And you can see second-year trees, and we've got apples on them. Thing is we've been picking the apples off for the most part, only keeping maybe a 5 or 6 on each of the trees. Biggest reason why is I want the trees to focus on growing roots and not necessarily apples. So 3 Honeycrisp here, 3 Zestar, 4 Harrelson. We come to this row here, which didn't do very well, and I need to figure out why. So these are Macintosh. This one's taken off pretty good, coming into its 2nd year, but that one and that one unfortunately didn't make it, so I'm gonna have to harvest those out of there and get some different trees. I'm thinking we might end up doing 4 trees different here. So this whole row actually died. If you ever saw the compilation video that I did with the Blake over at Daddy Curve's farm, this is the peach tree that we planted, which is taking off. Hopefully it'll make it, but this whole row of peaches here died, and those 2 Macintosh died. I'm not sure why. You can see all the other trees. We treat them all the same and they do really well, but for some reason those ones didn't make it. So our hope is that we're going to spend some time getting some different trees in here, kind of researching some different ones to put in. I've actually considered putting more plum trees in because our plum trees are going gangbusters. This one right here, you can see we even have plums on it. I mean, I came in and picked a lot of them off, but they're still coming in. And same with this one here. If you take a look up inside the tree up there, you can see we're getting plums up in there. So these are superior plums. These ones here are Tonka. So this tree right here, and these 4 trees right here were planted at the same time and the same size as these. So in 1 year, this is what we got out of these. In 1 year, this is what we got out of those. Same thing with our apple trees. Basically, all of our trees are almost all virtually the same size. 5 of them, for some reason, did not make it in this section, but the other sections worked really well. So not sure what we've got going on, but we'll get it straightened out here. That gives you kind of a quick tour of the apple orchard and the fruit orchard. So plum trees, apple trees, peach trees, plum trees. That's basically what we have in here. So it goes 2 types of plum. We had 4 peach here, but now I only have 1 peach left. I'm guessing we're going to plant something different in there. Maybe we'll find a different hardy variety. Mrs. has been kind of talking about getting a different style apple tree, maybe something a little bit more sweet or something like that, maybe Granny Smith or something. And then I'm going to try to get 2 more Macintosh trees to put back in there, so I got 3 Mac, because that's a really good apple for baking. The Zesters, the Honeycrisp, and the Harrelsons are doing really well. I even planted 3 Harrelsons out in the woods, and those ones are even bigger than these ones. So the orchard's doing really well. It's coming along. Let me show you some of the other plantings we have out in the garden out here. So we do live streams from time to time. Our normal time for live stream every week, you'll catch us at 8 p.m. on Thursday nights, right after we do Tech Talk on the Big Family Homestead, which is part of the Homestead Network. But then also randomly from time to time, we'll do drive-ups. Like, give you an example, we did a drive-up live stream where we talked for about an hour and a half with folks about answering questions and everything like that while we were in the car on the way up. But while we're doing those types of things, we talk about a bunch of different topics. This space behind me is a topic we've been talking about. So at one point in time, we had considered building a house actually right out here in the middle of this space. That's why it's open and cleared out the way it is. Unfortunately, we ended up running into some issues building here. So because of that, this space is basically a big vacant open area that we have grass in. And I'm trying to figure out what we put in there.
If you build it, he will come.
Right now, I spend a lot of time mowing the lawn out here. And this space back here was cleared out to put the septic and the well in. Back behind the house, but because we decided not to build up here and we ended up doing what we did on the lower homestead, we have this big open space up here. So if you guys have some suggestions of what to do, we're working on them right now. One item that somebody had suggested was cutting in a small trail system around the outside and then planting it with wildflowers and making this whole thing a big wildflower field, and then at the end of the year I can just cut it down with the brush mower. If you have some ideas. The other item is if we get standard honeybees, we're also talking about maybe putting honeybees back in the little cove back there and just kind of leaving it cut back like that. It'd be helpful for the gardens and things like that. We are working on putting in a greenhouse and a fenced area very similar to this for a garden. Hopefully we'll get that up here in the next year, just with everything with the house. I haven't gotten around to it, but we've got a lot of the materials for it. Bringing you out to an area that you may have seen in some of the videos before, the pumpkin patch. Got it all mulched in with the grass clippings and stuff, but we have 3 pods that we're growing pumpkins in. And then over here we've got some of our raised boxes. This one has rhubarb in it. That one I've got to do something with, but this is all of our asparagus. You can see it grows up really well. We planted this last year. I did a video on planting it out in the rain, which is kind of funny, but all this asparagus came up really well. Got away from us this year, so we didn't get too much of a harvest, but next year we plan on doing definitely a harvest out of this, and it'll be good. And then this is our raised box that has our garlic in it, and it's doing really, really well. We cut off the scapes actually, and we're going to do a grill of that coming up. One other thing a lot of people ask about are other types of fruit. See all these bushes along the side here? I'll come in kind of close. Wild blackberries. So all along this whole row, and then this trail that cuts around, these are all wild blackberries along this whole edge here. In the big field that we had over there, that's all wild blackberries also. So it's one of those things where, you know, we've been taking care of them. I've been throwing a little bit of fertilizer down and put some lime down there to sweeten up the soil, and sure enough, they all came up. See, like along here, got the wild daisies and stuff. Some of this stuff is kind of growing up really nice. I got wildflowers back there. So I'm thinking of doing something similar to this out in that big space. That way I have one less thing to maintain out here. That's the one challenging thing about having a property like this, is you don't want to make it so onerous that you come up on the weekends and you spend your whole time maintaining it. So we're always trying to strike that balance. We really enjoy working on the orchard. The missus and I and Cameron were out there for a number of hours just kind of working on it, and that turns out really well. But so I'm going to take you over to one more spot here. Gave you the update on the orchard. It's going well. Gave you update on the pumpkin patch, garlic, and all that stuff. That stuff's doing well. I'm going to show you one other thing here that we've been working on. By the way, if you guys have been following the live streams, you heard me talk about the Kubota. This is what happens when you dump 2 gallons of hydraulic fluid out of the tractor. You can see where it ended up breaking. Sorry about the wind. That's the rock that I got stuck in the middle back there. Dragged it all the way out here. Didn't know I had it underneath there. Got out here, blew everything out. Had to bring the trailer in and fix it all. You can see I've cut a driveway in here, and this driveway curls around past the off-grid cabin and then comes back around to the driveway here. So I'll show you this. This is the wood yard. You'll hear me refer to it often. This used to be where the walnut trees were. They didn't grow up very well, so instead we ended up putting in a wood yard. This is all the firewood that we process off the property. We've got it all stacked up here. We've got about 170 some feet of wood along here. So we got a whole bunch of free pallets. This one right here is for the small chunk wood that we use in the wood stove. And then this space right here, I actually have a whole bunch of bins that'll be for kindling and birch bark and that kind of stuff that we harvest from the property. But the whole point of this is I used to have wood stacked up all over the place. Now we have it all in one place. Alrighty, well, thanks for watching. If you like what we're doing here, make sure you give us a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and that little bell for the notifications. That way when we do live streams and everything, you can join in on the fun, do Q&A or whatever. We just, you know, hop online and go to a bunch of different places and have some fun. But if you get a chance, check it out. We always do the live streams on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Central. So that's always fun. All right, well, that's a quick tour of the orchard. Quick tour of the Upper Homestead. Wanted to make sure you guys get an update of what's going on there. Sorry we haven't had any videos for a while. We've been trying to do a bunch of different things on getting that remodel down at the lower. I have another video that you guys can check out for that. But if you like what we're doing here, my phone fell off again. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to check out some of the other stuff we're doing. This has been the Weekend Homestead, living a simple life, one weekend at a time. Thanks for watching. Every time I try to record, it falls. Ugh. Thanks, everybody.